Soundboard basics during the event. During the event, there are a number of things that you need to remember. First of all of your dials should have been set up before the event starts. Sometimes somebody comes in at the last minute and you simply don't have time. Sometimes unexpected things happen. Sometimes you set something up, but you made a mistake and you didn't realize that you turned something up or left it down too much. So what you primarily want to do during the event is use your mutes and your sliders to control the sound. Rather than bringing your sliders up and down all the way through the event, you can use your mute buttons to turn off and on channels, which not only controls what happens with the fader, but also with your pre-fader auxiliary send channels. So it's a wise practice to mute everything that isn't currently needed. That way you can leave your faders up and not have to shift and adjust them every single time. And it means that your auxiliary sends are also out so that if a guitar falls over on stage, it isn't live in the monitor and makes a huge sound. You can prevent that sort of thing happening. One of the hardest things about running the soundboard is staying alert and engaged throughout the entire time. Sort of like being a pilot. You've got a lot of work to do right at the beginning, getting the plane up in the air. You've got a lot of work to do afterwards, but in the middle, it can kind of get a little bit dull. And one of the things that the aviation industry is working on is trying to make sure that their pilots are attentive and engaged, because if something does go wrong, the pilot has to notice it immediately and respond quickly and effectively. And it's the same thing when you're running a soundboard. So the first thing that you need to do is watch for body language and eye contact from the people on stage. There have been times when something's gone very wrong with the monitor mix, and the person who's on the soundboard has no idea because they can't hear what I hear. And so I step back from where I am and I shake my head and I even wave my arms, but the person at the soundboard is chatting with the person who's running the computer or adjusting something that is inconsequential, and they have no idea that I'm freaking out on stage. But because I'm up front, I can't just stop and explain the situation. I have to find ways to communicate subtly and quickly that something has really gone wrong before it builds to the point where there are problems. And I've been in situations where the person on the soundboard hasn't paid attention and huge problems have developed as a result of that. Watch for body language. Learn what the people on stage look like when something's going wrong and it isn't evident to you yet. Another thing is to listen for feedback, and I'm not talking about communication between you and the people on stage. There's a ringing sound that you can hear before full-blown feedback comes into existence, and so be alert for that ringing sound, learn what it sounds like, and listen for it like a hawk. Another thing to do is to anticipate. In between the songs, you can be aware of what's happening next. Is it another song? Is it the children's story? Is it the sermon? You need to know what's happening next and what is going to need to change during that moment. Be ready for it and do it as soon as the time is right. One particular practice that's very helpful is scanning the stage. And that involves looking at each musician or vocalist in turn and asking yourself two basic questions. So you scan the stage from left to right and then ask for each person, can I hear it and does it sound good? So start on the left for the person with the microphone. Can I hear them? Do they sound good? Then move to the next person who's playing bass guitar. Can I hear them? Do they sound good? Then move to the next person and they've got two things. Can I hear them sing? Do they sound good? Can I hear them play guitar? Do they sound good? And then to the next person. Can I hear them sing? Does it sound good? Can I hear them play the keyboard? Does it sound good? And this can take just a few seconds, but especially when you're starting, ask yourself these things in your head, very deliberately going from one person to the other. And your goal should be at least every 15 seconds to scan the stage, make visual contact with each individual person, and ask yourself these 2 questions about them. And once you get good at it, you can do it in about 2 seconds and just sweep your eyes across the stage and just visually confirm that each person is audible and that each person sounds appropriate. But scanning the stage is a discipline that's very important to get into when you're running sound. Once you get the basics down of how to run a soundboard, a lot of doing it well comes down to your attitude and attentiveness. If you have a positive attitude and you pay attention, that's 90% of what it is that you need to do. Thank you.